All right, how's it going, everyone? This is Brian, and welcome back to the Tech Stack Playbook, your guide to apps, software, and tech, but in a fun way, I promise. So, no one ever told me when I was getting into software engineering that it was going to be really hard. And I wish that somebody had actually told me that because coding is really hard. And it's really hard if you've never done it before, because, obviously, something will be difficult if you've never done it before. But no one ever explained why it would be challenging. And I think that coming from, a social media marketing world, I worked in public relations, you know, and I did, a lot of communication. I've done a lot of stuff, with marketing and, brand campaigns and those types of things. So you want to get the right answer for the right brand and the right company. But there's different it's like you could create an answer for something, and maybe it could be a right-ish answer, or it could be a wrong-ish answer, but you still can arrive with an answer that you can then go to market with. In a sense, you could, like, for a social media post, there won't be like an inability to write a social media post. You'll always be able to write it. You'll always be able to make a graphic. Could you make certain things better? Could you make certain things, the copy more optimized, the graphic more engaging? Of course, but you can always ship it. There'll never be like a blocker on that. Coding is really, really, really weird because you might want to do something and then you have no idea how to get that into the real world. There might be a feature that you want to ship, an architecture that you want to build, but you might have no idea how to actually do that. And until you figure out how to do that, you're sort of at a loss. And that's the thing that's really interesting with coding, because like when you have bugs, that feature isn't going to work until you solve that bug. So you have to really sit down with yourself, maybe even like meditate, go for a walk, come back to it, sit with yourself, think about it, maybe like get up, or just power through and just try to blast it out. But until you solve that issue, it's a blocker. And that's something that's interesting with work in tech, because these things that can become blockers can become impossible if you don't know how to solve them. And that's obviously why, like, when they say, like, you get paid the big bucks if you're solving those problems, because that's why software engineers are paid significant amounts of money, because they're solving very complicated problems. A lot of people, if you've ever heard about what it takes to go into coding, I mean, it's a lot of work, but it's very difficult. It's very mentally taxing. Depending on what you're doing, it can be very mind-bending too. But being able to, solve problem after problem after problem, you need endurance. You need to be able to, again, have the wherewithal to withstand having things break. You solve one thing, but then it created four other issues. You have to be able to think about that. And that's something that I think, coming from a non-technical world, coming into a technical world, I wish that somebody had explained that to me, because that would also maybe have tempered how I thought about things. Because I thought when you start coding, everything works correctly all the time. Because when you do social media, you always can post things. You can always make a graphic. Again, it might not be as optimized as it could be, but you can always ship something. But with tech, if it's erroring, it keeps erroring, bug it, error, it won't work. There's nothing you can do until you solve that error. And that's where you sort of need to start thinking different creative ways of solving a problem. So think about, there's like that quote from Albert Einstein where insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different outcome. Coding is super important to think about like that, because you need to be able to take, basically like in a itemized way, this didn't work because of this. This didn't work because of that. This didn't work because of this and that. And you sort of go through the list of why something isn't working until you arrive at the answer where it does work. And once you figure it out, it's like the most amazing feeling ever. It's like angels are singing. But before that, it's like 90 miles of pain for like the 1 mile of like, I did it and I feel great to get to the finish line. So yeah, it's kind of, it feels like just like 90 miles of sprinting and then a mile of jogging, right to the finish line. It feels so great when you finish a task that was really challenging, but the journey to get there can be so daunting and so overwhelming. So it's important to think about that when you are, getting into software engineering is like, how do you deal with challenges when problems pop up? Because I think everybody likes to think that they're really good at problem solving, but then when you're faced with these issues that can't be resolved until you figure it out, it changes a person. It changes how you think about things, because then you think, oh, I really have to sit with this, until I get it right. So that's something that I wish that somebody had told me before I got into software engineering. Not that it would have changed my decision or direction, because I was always really excited about the tech, but I wish that somebody had given me that as like a golden insight about what to look out for in tech, because it's very challenging, because so much of it needs to work correctly. And sometimes at a certain point, you just need it to work in any way, shape, or form. But if you can't find one way to get it to work, it can be very, very, very grueling. So, obviously think about when you're, coding, think about that. How can you solve a problem in a creative way? How can you think about something in a new, innovative format? What are the ways that you can go through your list of why something isn't working to then arrive at the answer of why it did? So with that, I hope that this video finds you well, and I hope that wherever you are tuning in from in the world, I hope you have a great rest of your day, afternoon, or evening, and I'll see you all next time. All right, thanks everybody. Bye.